In old country of Schlupska, I am ditch digger. As far as jobs in Schlups go, it's pretty good. We are the Greenbounds, and we have American dream. I find good job in pickle factory. Sarah, I make this vow. 100 years, our family will prosper. And then one day, everything changed.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Film Optix review brought to you by the Drive-In Podcast Network. I'm your host, Christian, and today we're going to be talking about An American Pickle. It's now streaming on HBO Max. And as always, I'm joined by my good friends and my co-host, Devin. How are you doing today, man?
Yo, yo, yo.
Yo, you're a pickle. You want to, it's like Pickle Rick.
American Pickle.
American Pickle. You American Pickle or you Pickle Rick? I just don't. It is much one and the same. I actually thought he turned into a pickle in this movie, but I guess not. But
I
yeah,
would have been just straight up Pickle Rick at that point.
pretty much. I'm like, is this just like a knockoff of Pickle Rick? But yeah, your weekend was good?
Yeah, I'd say so. Solid.
Pretty chill.
Yours?
It was good. It was good stuff. Ran some errands, watched some Avengers gameplay online. So definitely got to try out the open beta when that comes out. But
I watched a really strange movie last night.
What'd you watch?
It's called Vivarium. It came out.
Vivarium.
I think it came out this year or last year. It has Jesse Eisenberg and Imogen Poots. It's this weird horror movie.
Where'd you watch it on?
Prime Video.
Oh, that's right. You say you've been on the Amazon.
I've been finding some hidden gems there. At least trying to.
Okay.
And of course,
Nice.
Let Me Explain had a nice video about it I watched afterwards. That's always nice.
Of course.
Pretty much any movie you've ever watched, he probably has a video on it.
Yeah, any like obscure movie for sure. It's like all there. It's great. But yeah, I've actually been watching Harley Quinn. Got through season 1. It's very good. Started season 2.
I think I'm going to start up
ago.
Doom Patrol here soon.
Dude, I'm actually thinking about the same thing after I finish up Harley Quinn. But there's also, I got to start Chernobyl because I still haven't seen that yet. And I hear it's very good. And my my coworkers won't stop talking about it. So
It made me snooze.
All right. And before we begin today's review, you can listen to this review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, Red Circle, TuneIn, Pandora, and iHeart Radio. So let's jump in. We'll do a little bit of a non-spoiler section for this. And then
Now that I'm thinking about the movie, it really feels like a combination of Pickle Rick and the Vat of Acid episode. It's a vat of pickles. It's just a combo of those two.
Like when we first read the synopsis, I didn't know what to think.
The synopsis, I remember just thinking how weird and crazy it sounded.
It's almost as weird as Night Bitch with with Amy Adams. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I was like, okay, like I'm assuming both of these movies might be on the same caliber. I watched American Pickle earlier this morning, and I mean, I watched it. It wasn't the worst, but it was okay. What did you think?
I was a fan, actually.
Yeah?
I enjoyed it. Definitely had some issues, but I mean, I'm a sucker for Seth Rogen too. I don't think he's ever made a bad movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I liked his performances. Like I liked the whole family aspect, where you're coming from and, where you came from and being proud of, who you are as an individual. Definitely really hit home for me. I didn't hate it as much, even though I gave it 2 stars on on Letterboxd. But yeah, I didn't hate it. It was just, would I watch it again? Maybe not. With people, probably. But, yeah, did you have anything else you wanted to say about the non-spoiler section before we just dive into spoilers?
I do think it did a really good job of showing generational divide that exists currently in our world.
Yeah.
Because
that was good.
Obviously we want to connect with our older relatives and grandparents, but sometimes it's just tough because they're so set in their ways and we're set in our ways. It's hard to find common ground sometimes, and this does a good job of showing that.
Eventually, one day, that's going to be us. The world will change. We'll get older.
We'll never be boomers.
We're going to be boomers one day, Devin. Get ready. It's coming.
I refuse.
Back in my day.
We had movies about pickles and shows about pickles.
Yeah. And yeah, but I'm not a big pickle fan myself, to be honest. Not anymore, at least. But what about you? You a big pickle guy?
Only on a nice chicken sandwich or a burger, not by itself.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I just like when I was younger, I ate like an entire jar of pickles. Killed my stomach. So kind of like
Wouldn't
off
recommend.
put me from. Yeah, would not recommend at all. I was like obsessed with them when I was a kid. I loved pickles, but yeah. Let me actually read the synopsis really quick before we get any further. Sorry, it's we're kind of just all over the place today. It's been a crazy weekend, but the synopsis reads: an immigrant worker falls into a vat of pickles and is brined for 100 years. The brine preserves him perfectly, and when he emerges in present-day Brooklyn, he finds that he hasn't aged a day. So it's literally a, man out of time type situation, as we just...
Which I always find enjoyable. Mm-hmm. Especially back in the Captain America days when he was first figuring stuff out in the current world. Just always an interesting story.
It's always amazing to see the interactions that happen because we see a lot of them in this movie. And by the way, from here on out, it's just going to be spoilers, spoiler city. So if you haven't watched it, go ahead, watch it, come back and listen to the review. So
apparently it was shot. A good portion of it was shot in Pittsburgh. Interesting.
Really? There we go. Pittsburgh got a win.
This is also the first ever Seth Rogen produced film that is not rated R. That's kind of crazy.
Oh, you know what? That's very true. I didn't realize that.
Nice family film this time around. Finally pulled it off.
It really was. Between this and did he direct Long Shot, or was that someone else?
That was rated R.
Right. Well, I just wasn't sure if he actually directed that one or if he just
not directed, but produced.
Produced, right. So yeah, with the American Pickle, he the Jewish immigrants, I guess you can call him. We have Herschel Greenbaum, and then the great grandson Ben Greenbaum, both played by Seth Rogen, of course. They get into a little bit of a tissy here and there. I was not a big fan of Ben when it came to crushing Herschel's hopes and dreams of running his pickle factory again, or his pickle business.
Yeah, I think the second half of the movie kind of becomes a bit of a train wreck just because of the whole forced conflict of them hating each other. Wasn't a fan of that.
Yeah.
Pretty much every kind of basic comedy movie has this forced conflict between the two main characters that they have to make up at the end.
Yeah.
And this one felt especially forced because the first half of the movie, they were getting along great. It was a nice, touching story. Had some laughs, but then they just hate each other.
Yeah, and it's like it seems that they both kind of want the same thing, but with Ben's parents when they died in the car crash, and of course, Herschel pretty much gains, or he completes his goal like pretty early on in the movie with removing like the the Russian billboard for his their dead relatives so they can pay respects, but we don't really get too much into the why Ben is so distant from religion and just why he's not as religious. We're not entirely sure.
I guess that was just chalked up to different time periods they were in. Nowadays, it's much more common to not be as religious, and back then you kind of had to be religious.
Yeah, and people do grief in different ways as well, so there's also that factor. But he's Ben's trying to get his, what was it, boop bop?
Yeah, boop bop.
Out. It actually wasn't a bad idea, but
if it was a real thing, it might be used.
If it was a real thing and was used, I can guarantee you that half of these companies would not make that list.
Yeah, I love how at the meeting with the tech guy, he's like, if only you were a troubled CEO for a social media company, then you might be able to get through.
Yeah, I was actually watching the Social Network before we started.
Speaking of troubled
this.
CEOs.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, every single time I go back and watch that movie, I'm like, dude was a genius, but like just straight up robot. Completely. Mark Zuckerberg. Oh my gosh.
And he's on jet skis with a face full of suntan lotion, looking weird.
Dude just never freaking blinks, and it's like, wow. But yes, what did you think of the intern characters that Herschel recruits for his after his first attempt of his pickle business being, shut down?
They were kind of just there, of there and left in the blink of an eye. It was kind of funny how they all showed up in a line and were all very qualified for such a not qualifying job.
He was asking to like see their teeth and whatnot. I was like, what is going on here? But he was literally, I guess, with Herschel, obviously him being a man out of time, and Ben trying to constantly sabotage his endeavors, especially during the debates that they had when he brought up Christianity. And I was like, oh no, this is gonna be terrible. I was like, you got this super heavy Jewish religious guy and Christianity that just does not mix well together. But
I do like that portion of the story, the parallels that we have in our current political environment, where he was saying awful things, but it was being viewed as free speech, and people thought it was heroic for some reason. And they were saying he should run for office, which is obviously very, very close to what's happened now. This guy was made a hero for just saying stuff on Twitter.
Yeah, the whole Twitter thing was like, I mean, obviously, Ben had the advantage of time on his side, even though they were the same age, and it's like, he can easily destroy it. It's, they even said in the movie that, well, something about celebrities, and you do like one bad thing and you're like marked for life or whatever it was, and yeah, I mean, kind of, sort of. I mean, it does. I mean, with celebrities or people who are in the spotlight, they are judged more harshly than those than us common folk.
I thought a lot felt like kind of pretty realistic as to what would actually happen if this was somehow real. Like this guy is put into the spotlight and ends up like gaining fame out of it for some reason. Like all these internet headlines and all this stuff. Did you see the headline that came up with Kanye in it? It was like Kanye West defends Herschel's right to offend. I was like, oh my God, he would actually do that.
He would do that for sure. But yeah, there wasn't. I just wanted to bring up, like, since this wasn't much of like a, it was a comedy, but I guess normally with Seth Rogen producing, that we've seen from The Long Shot, it wasn't like a romantic comedy, but even though it still had those beats, and I was trying to figure out how this whole thing was going to end, because, as we know, Herschel ends up getting deported, or so we thought. They switched places and whatnot, and it was it did have a lot of heart.
That's one thing I appreciate the most about Seth Rogen movies, is that, like you mentioned, there's always these little beats of emotional moments and heart that he puts in there. It's not just straight. I mean, it is sometimes just straight dumb comedy, but recently,
it's not always
it's been more so adding in some heart to it.
Right. Yeah, and honestly, I think the pacing of this movie wasn't terrible. I thought it was. I enjoyed the ride that I had with this movie. It wasn't too short. You know what I mean? It wasn't super long. I didn't check my phone like, oh my gosh, like, how long do I have?
It's just a solid hour and a half comedy. That's all you can really ask for. Just give me that 90 minutes.
Just give me 90 minutes and done. That's all we need. But yeah, since we pretty much touched on, you know, what did and didn't work section, but and I guess, you know, with Easter eggs as well. But how would you was The Long Shot the last movie that Seth Rogen produced, or was that Good Boys?
Good Boys.
Okay, I was gonna ask. Well, he wasn't in Good Boys, but I guess between this and The Long Shot, which one would you prefer?
I don't know. It's actually probably pretty close for me.
Yeah, I would. Man, I guess I would say I give like A Long Shot maybe like a point above. Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. They're kind of the same, but I guess if I'm trying to figure out which one like hit me harder, I guess I would say The Long Shot, just by like a smidge. Nothing too crazy, but yeah. But yeah, was there anything else you wanted to? I know this is probably going to be one of our shorter reviews, but was there anything else you wanted to touch on before we wrap
I liked how Seth kind of showed off a bit of his acting chops here. That accent was pretty strong throughout. I mean, I'm no expert,
accent.
but whatever. Slupski, is that what it was called? Slupska?
Yeah. Is he Jewish?
Seth Rogen?
Jewish?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah,
So that's
wasn't entirely sure.
Personal touch he put on there. I'm sure he has battles with his religion from time to time.
Yeah, I almost said Joe Rogan. I'm like, that is not the same
Wrong
person.
one.
Joe Rogan doesn't like people who play video games, so that's fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, overall, I thought it was a nice, heartwarming experience.
I also really like how just the idea of a guy finding pickles in a dumpster and then going to Williamsburg, like the hipster capital, and it just working so perfectly. I felt like it was pretty accurate. You have to write a blog about this.
Yeah. Like, I mean, Herschel like built an empire, but like it kind of shows that, you know, you just have to kind of, if you want things to happen, you have to make things happen yourself. You can't just, you know, sit around like Ben did with Boop Bop and, you know, hopefully it might pan out. But he has been working on it for about 5 years, and that whole
it would have worked out.
It probably would have worked out for sure. But I guess what I'm getting at is, you know, he kept stalling and stalling. He's like, I'm not sure if it's ready yet. I'm not sure if it's ready yet. And he's like, I don't know if I like the color. And it's like, you have, you know, marketing teams and everything to help you out there. But I think the whole, I guess, underline of that message was, like, you know, if you do want something to happen, you just go for it. You don't dawdle. You don't wait around until it's quote unquote perfect, because even if you do release something, you know, at first hand, like nothing's perfect. Like I was watching The Social Network earlier. Like obviously Facebook has changed tremendously since it first launched back in like, God, early 2000s. It's been a while.
Yeah.
So, you know, you have a starting point and you go from there. But it was very impressive to see Herschel just, he's like, I'm going to start selling pickles again. So what do I know
also
how to do
that fight scene was kind of cool, seeing Seth Rogen throw some punches. I don't know. It was interesting.
Seth Rogen fighting
Let's
Seth
get this
Rogen.
man in the MCU.
Yeah, seriously though, I would love to see Seth Rogen in the MCU
Somehow.
Absolutely, somehow, some way, or honestly, just any superhero property at all.
Besides Green Hornet.
Yeah,
we're not going to talk about that one.
Yeah, preferably the MCU, but it'd be cool if he did like a little cameo in the Suicide Squad for James Gunn. I feel like he can definitely fit in that realm for sure. That's coming up soon as well. Oh my gosh. Are you going to be? No, you're not going to be in town that weekend. The 22nd? Next weekend.
22nd.
Or will you? Yeah, DC Fandom's next Saturday.
Hey, I'm not going anywhere till
next Saturday. Okay. God, I'm getting my dates all mixed up. We should definitely cover something for that. I think it's supposed to be like a 24-hour live stream. Maybe we could hop on and off. I don't know, do some streaming or something. That'd be pretty cool. But did you want to get into scores for American Pickle?
I also just wanted to mention the reoccurring joke that got me like twice was when they're looking at pictures of young Seth Rogen and Herschel goes, "Who's this shapely young lady?"
Was that an actual picture of Seth Rogen?
I don't know, but they used that joke twice later on when he was in the crowd asking a question. And he goes, "The shapely young lady at the top." That one got me.
Oh yeah, the Barbra Streisand thing at the end was hilarious.
Yeah, that was good too.
By the way,
they're both in love with Barbra Streisand.
Oh my gosh, that was hysterical.
Didn't Seth Rogen do a movie with her?
I think so. I can't remember which movie though. I'm drawing a blank. But
I'll
also,
get
I
to
wanted
it eventually.
Yeah, eventually. But I also wanted to touch on really quick. I think is when Herschel first went to try to buy cucumbers.
The guilt trip. That's what it was.
Oh, the guilt. Okay. But when Herschel went to go buy the cucumbers, and it was just like a girl with like a super short haircut, he called her a dude.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, but it makes so much sense because it's like, you know, he was brine for 100 years. It's like a lot can change. But you also, you know, we don't see too much of the wife either. But you can definitely tell that he misses her. And they started establishing some type of relationship or connection there. But, yeah, that's all I pretty much had to say.
I also thought it was cute how they both shared their dreams at the same little stump area that him and his wife did in the beginning. That was cute.
Yeah. Got to see his son as a grown man, or a picture of his son as a grown man. So, yeah, overall, a really good feel-good movie. We definitely recommend anyone to at least watch this once. Don't waste your time on watching things like Spencer Confidential. Or, so, yeah. All right. Well, I think that pretty much does it. We talked about it for a little bit longer than I thought we were going to, but hey, it's just more content. But that pretty much does it here for our review of the HBO Max original American Pickle.
Scores?
Now, oh, that's right. My God. See, I'm all over today. Thank you for reminding me.
Of course.
Out of 100 pickles, what would you give An American Pickle?
Well, I was originally thinking somewhere in the 70s range, but since it's Seth Rogen, I'm just going to go with the 69.
Nice.
Just
all right.
Just solid. Even though the second half felt a little messy because of the forced conflict issue.
Yeah, and I think that's what did it for me. I'm probably going to go a little bit lower and go with a 65 on this one. Because of that,
you're going different from your app score.
Well, yeah, okay. So my app score is a 2 out of 5,
which equates
I don't really
to
know.
a 40.
Okay. Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah. All right, screw it. We'll go with 40. We'll go with 40 out of 100 for this one. I did really enjoy it. So, yeah, maybe we should go. Should we switch up to the 5-star rating, or should we just keep the old
I like the wiggle
grade
room.
school? Yeah, the wiggle room, the old grade school score. Not like So yeah, 40 out of 100 for me. So, man, yeah, it was whatever. Anyway, that concludes again our review of American Pickle, now streaming on HBO Max, touting as a HBO. Well, I think they're calling it a Max original. They don't say HBO Max original; they say Max original. It's like Quibi, you know.
Quibi.
Quibi.
Go away.
But yeah. And as always, you can listen to this podcast on Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, Red Circle, TuneIn, Pandora, and iHeartRadio, and as well as YouTube, because I forget that we're supposed to upload there. So it's like, wow, lots going on. But I believe what comes out next week, because we were supposed to review Project Power, but Netflix has very, very strict rules about certain things.
Doesn't it come out next week?
Huh?
Doesn't it come out next week?
It does. Yes, Project Power does. we can, I mean, like I said, we can wait and just do it after you watch it. It's just, I don't want to risk the whole, all that stuff. But we can review it next week unless there was something else coming out next week. So, yeah. Embargo for that doesn't release until Thursday of this week. But, yeah, we'll just review Project Power this coming up week. So it'll be weird doing a show without my co-host. So very, very strange. So, yeah, that pretty much does it. And we will see you guys in the next one.
Peace.
Turn myself into a pickle, Morty! Boom! Big reveal. I'm a pickle. What do you think about that? I turned myself into a pickle! I'm Pickle Rick!